For more than 50 years, the Valley United Way has served the people of Ansonia, Derby, Oxford, Seymour, and Shelton through its 24 member agencies. These agencies are primarily made up of volunteers who give their hearts and time to help fulfill the needs of our communities. The Lower Naugatuck Valley chapter of the American Red Cross is a Valley United Way agency. Its services include CPR and first aid courses, communication to military personnel, blood collection, and assistance during local disasters. The explosion of the River Restaurant rocked the residents of Derby and its neighboring communities. Flames illuminated the skyline for miles. Many homes and businesses were evacuated as the smell of gas lingered in the air. Amidst the smoke and rubble, rescue teams worked through the night.
The call came in about 4:15 on that Friday afternoon. Everybody was just getting ready to go home. We had heard that there was an explosion in downtown Derby and it had involved the River Restaurant. We drove by car over to the area to just survey what was going on. The police were there, the fire department was there, emergency personnel were all there. They had cordoned off an approximate 4 to 6 block area, and that was the area that was involved. People were wandering around. They had been forced out of their homes by the force of the explosion, and they really didn't know what was going on. A little while later, the mayor of Derby had declared the downtown area a disaster area, and he had set up Irving School as the emergency shelter. People walked from downtown, they drove from downtown, they got there any way that they could. Families came in, mothers with young children, they wandered in. We registered everybody, and it was about 140 people that finally came into the shelter. By registering them, we were able to locate families who had been displaced or separated, and it made them feel a little bit more comfortable and secure. After everybody was registered in, we sent out for food. McDonald's food was brought in, sandwiches, hamburgers, French fries, and drinks were provided free of charge for all the evacuees that came in. While people were eating, cots were being set up for those who had to spend the night. After people had finished eating, they started calling friends and families to see if they could be kept overnight someplace else so they wouldn't have to spend the night in the shelter. About 40 people eventually spent the night there, and they spent the night on uncomfortable cots in the crowded gymnasium. During the evening, volunteers had gone down to the disaster site area where we had provided the emergency personnel and the firemen with coffee and sandwiches, cold drinks, and we'd gone down a couple of times during that night to make sure that they had food available to them. The people that spent the night in the shelter, the next morning they were fed breakfast. We had cereal and juice and toast and pastries that we also provided for them free of charge. People left the shelter by 11 o'clock and were allowed back into the disaster area to get some personal belongings, perhaps a change of clothes, and then they had to leave again. The shelter was closed, and they found other places to stay for the rest of the day. Some people were displaced for up to 2 or 3 days.
Indeed, the United Way helps the Valley take care of its own. However, its efforts extend far beyond the boundaries of this community. They come with hopes and dreams. They come seeking freedom and dignity. They come, like our ancestors, for the opportunities of this great country. They come to start their lives all over again. Starting over in a new land can be difficult. The International Institute, another Valley United Way agency, specializes in services that assist immigrants and their families.
Yes, we are a nation of immigrants in 1986. Yearly, the United States of America admits 490,000 immigrants to our shores and a certain number of refugees depending on world tensions. Connecticut sees 6,000 to 7,000 immigrants come to its shores to begin life again, and sees about 1,000 refugees begin life again all over here in the state of Connecticut. What is the International Institute of Connecticut? The International Institute of Connecticut was founded in 1918 by the YWCA of Greater Bridgeport. Like the other institutes, the YWCAs of America began a special program for the immigrant girls who were coming during the Industrial Revolution. The YWCA, in their wisdom, realized that the girl had a family and that the problems of immigrating to the United States were very special and indeed very technical. When I think of the International Institute of Connecticut and the Valley area, I think of the Jezik family, who recently came to the International Institute to process their citizenship papers. Today, that family living in Ansonia are American citizens and can now petition for their immediate family in Poland.
I used to live in Poland with my mother, my father, and 2 brothers and a sister. I left them when my sister was 3 years old, and my brothers were a little older. Now they're big now, and they would like to come over here, so I'm trying to get them, but nothing works yet. So maybe when when I got the citizen papers, maybe that will help. And my uncle came over one year, and he asked me if I want to come over and live with them. So I came over here to look for better life and to help my family there. About 35 years ago, my uncle came over from England, and International Institute helped him get a job, and with his papers, and with his citizen papers too. He got through them. And then they helped me with my papers and extending my visa, my passport, and they fill out my papers for citizen. My whole family lives back at home in Poland, and in the future I will like them living with me here in the United States because of the problems they're having there with the bomb exploding and the solidarity and the communists. So in the future I would like them staying in the United States so I could go visit them and they could come visit me, and I will help them finding a place to live and have better life like I do. Now since we became citizens, me and my husband, we got families there so we could bring them over and help them. And we got rights to vote and help our kids with their education. And the United States is not a communist country, so it's better than living in Europe, some of the places. These are my 3 boys, Johnny, Peter, and Jerry, and we are happy that we live in America. Okay?
Yearly, the International Institute provides services to 4,000 individuals. We assist people with immigration and naturalization problems. The International Institute is recognized by the U.S. Board of Immigration Appeals. Several members of our staff are accredited to represent aliens before the Immigration Court and to help immigrants and refugees gain immigrant visas and naturalization assistance. Language assistance services. The International Institute of Connecticut maintains a 24-hour answering service to assist people with language needs on an emergency basis. We can assist people daily with 42 languages, with their technical needs in business, with other social service agencies, and to help immigrants and refugees gain access to their community. English as a second language. English as a second language classes are provided here at the International Institute Central Office. English is indeed the key to success in this new country. Employment assistance services. Gaining access to a job is very, very important. How to prepare an application, how to find that entry-level position. These are the kinds of employment assistance services that we do here at the International Institute. And of course, yearly, the International Institute, via the Department of State and via our parent association, the American Council, resettles refugees from around the world. Yearly, 200 refugees begin their lives anew here in Connecticut through the services of the International Institute of Connecticut, a United Way agency.
The United Way is an outstanding example of our community working together to solve the problems of our fellow citizens. It's people helping people, and caring is what it's all about. Your contribution helps support the many services provided by United Way agencies. Please be generous and help make the Valley a better place to work and live. It's in your hands. The Valley United Way.